Omar Akram is the first Afghan American to win a prestigious Grammy Award for his music. The long journey that Omar's family took from Afghanistan to California weaves through his music. When Omar was born, his diplomat father was based in New York. But by the time Omar was 6, the family had moved to the Afghan embassy in Prague. As he told Outlook's Laura Hubber, that's where he started his musical life.
I was actually a really hyper kid. And my parents thought, well, if we get him a piano, this might be a good thing for him, to calm him down. So they got me a grand piano, and they also got me a great teacher from the Prague Symphony.
After 3 years, the family moved briefly to Paris, then to Afghanistan at the end of the 70s, just before the war with Russia began.
I just remember lots of planes and just a war broke out, basically. My dad wanted to get the family out of there, but thankfully he was assigned to become the ambassador from Afghanistan to Cuba.
While Europe provided Akram's grounding in classical music, Cuba introduced him to African jazz. It was by sneaking into clubs that this 13-year-old boy received his greatest musical education.
I met Fidel Castro when my dad went to a reception. We talked about different things, and I also talked about music, and he says, well, why don't you just go to some of these jazz clubs and check it out? Because I was telling him that I can't get in. He says, just use my name. So that's how I would get in. I would go to a jazz club, I would use Fidel Castro's name. I said, he sent me to come to your club, and they would let me in. So that's my little secret that just came out. I would go in when the musicians were taking a break, and I would go on stage and I would play the piano, and the musicians would come back on stage, and I'm like, I'm sorry, okay, I'm done. They're like, no, you stay, you keep jamming, and they would come in and we would all jam together. It was just an incredible experience.
After Akram dutifully studied political science in the States, he told his father he wanted to be a musician.
At first, I think when I told him that this is what I want to do, he was a little taken back by the whole thing. He's like, son, I don't know if you can be a professional musician, but you can certainly have it as a hobby.
When Akram moved to Southern California with his family, he did what musicians have to do to make a living.
I would play in top 40 bands. I would do weddings and things like that, stuff that my dad wasn't really proud of.
But he also continued to write his own music and was signed to an international recording contract in 2002.
My dad was walking across the street, and he was going to Borders, and he saw a poster of my new album right on the outside, saying his new album is out. So he went inside and he's telling the manager, this is my son. So at that time, he started to accept, okay, he's doing okay, I guess. His stuff is out, and then we went on top of the Billboard chart, so he was pretty happy. And I think at that time, he started to accept me as a professional musician.
It was only a few years ago, however, with the growth of YouTube, and by no effort of his own, that Akram's music spread across the globe, receiving millions of hits.
Fans from all around the world have taken my music, and they've put their own images to my music, and they've kind of distributed these images to their friends and their friends to their friends. So what I have is over 10 million hits on YouTube, and none of these videos have been made by me or my people.
Flowers and peace signs, swirling colors and slogans of love. While celebrity followers like Deepak Chopra and author Paul Coelho put his music on their websites, the main work is done by fans all over the world. Most of the time, their montages are idealized versions of how the world could be, rather than how it is.
If you do something that resonates with people, they will get behind it and they will help you promote it. In Romania, you're talking about in South America, you're talking about in Vietnam, and in different countries, people just make these images and put my music on, with their images.
Now that Akram has won the Grammy for Best New Age Album, his father no longer doubts his choice of career.
He's beyond proud. I mean, I guess, your son wins a Grammy Award, that's a big deal. He's like, yeah, long time ago I told him to get into the music business, and and I'm glad he took my advice, and now look at him.
But Akram is quick to say this award is not just for him.
For me, it was a great honor because I'm the first Afghan American to win a Grammy Award. So it wasn't just for me and my family, it was for the whole country.
And it is a response from inside of Afghanistan that has moved Akram most.
Of course, after winning the Grammy, then the whole country just kind of got behind me. And I literally became front page news in Afghanistan overnight, from sort of people knowing who I was to being the most talked about Afghani in the world. From all parts of Afghanistan, I've been getting, responses, and just a common message is like, we're really proud of you. We're just so happy that you won this amazing award, and we're behind you 100%. So yeah, there's no north and south, there's no Pashtuns, or it's all, everyone is connecting with this, and I just feel really blessed to be a part of this whole experience. If you put people in the right environment, you can achieve great things.
Grammy Award-winning music of Omar Akram. He was talking to Laura Hubbard in Los Angeles.